wonderful at governance, neighbor. But from a political party standpoint, neighbor, they have been lacking behind the People's National Party, neighbor, and that is just the truth that we have to acknowledge.
Yes.
And neighbor, we are with neighbor from 1962 to the 72 election, neighbor. Jamaica Labour Party lost that election, neighbor, in 72 after gaining from 62. We lost that election, neighbor. It happened to Mr. Siaga again from 1980 to 1989, neighbor. It has always been very difficult for us going for that third term, neighbor. It is never easy. Our performance over those, for our performance from 1962 to 72, neighbor, we were doing good. Jamaica still voted us out. Mr. Siaga did a wonderful job in the recovery of Hurricane Gilbert. Jamaica still voted us out, neighbor. We have to come again. We have to campaign from not from a governance level now, neighbor, but from a political party, neighbor.
Hi guys.
Yes, and so hold on there, Kerry, we're coming to you. Mr. Scratchy, the Labour Party tonight is going to have to assess what is happening to the party. Why is it that it is not gaining support, even though it is trumpeting its performance? The PNP is outpacing it in terms of popularity on the ground. That is what the poll is saying.
Exactly, because the PNP continuously gaining points every time these polls come out, neighbor. The PNP should be done and dusted by now.
Yes, Scratchy. No, Scratchy. There is a perception in Jamaica that the Blue Dot polls, even nationwide, favors the Jamaica Labour Party. Hence, the PNP is not even commenting on these polls. It is well known that Don Anderson is in the field, and that Don Anderson publishes for the RJR Gleaner. That
Communication group, yeah.
Right. Now, if Don Anderson, and this is hypothetical, should come out with a lead for the PNP, then I think enthusiasm among comrades would be sky high.
Very much so, neighbor, and I think that is what the comrades are. And even from this Blue Dot poll, neighbor, I think the comrades are very sky high right now. It is not showing them in the lead, but it's not showing the Jamaica Labour Party any much further.
It is showing a competitive election, Scratchy.
Very competitive, because if we should go by the margin of error, neighbor, it would be a dead-on 2-point lead on the Jamaica Labour Party, which would definitely, neighbor, would warrant the Jamaica Labour Party winning close to 33 seats.
You know, Scratchy, I think tomorrow we are going to be examining a couple of things on the program, including the government's performance. I am scheduled to talk to Tari along with some other folks. Let me hear what Kerry has to say. Good evening, Kerry.
Good evening. How many persons vote in this poll you guys talking about?
I think it is 1,600 and something.
Yes.
1,600?
Yes, I think 602. You know that polls in Jamaica normally, people normally...
You're saying 1,600 persons took part in this poll?
1,618.
Yes. Oh.
And this is what you guys are... I don't understand. I'm confused. Because I did a poll with about 4,000 persons.
The margin of error for that would be very high, though, you know, Kerry.
Huh?
The margin of error for a poll of 4,000 would be very high, very unreliable.
Jamaican youth, of course, my belly is full. I have my business, and my business is doing great in Jamaica, so my belly is full. I'm not waiting on government handout. Anyway, neighbor, that's it. 1,600 persons take part.
Yes, but remember that polling is a science, you know.
Yeah,
it's a representative sample that you want, and the higher
the snapshot of the moment.
So why are you making a big deal if this is only one? I did a poll that I'm going with all the well, I don't want to give out too much, but I did a Perry, you will never understand. Sorry. 1 second. I did a poll with about 4,000 persons. So far, I did like the hospital, but not all the hospitals yet. Police station and a few government offices.
Yes, Kerry. What is the point?
No, what I'm saying, well, I was able to get a poll done. I'm still doing it. I'll be back on it in probably like 2 weeks. And I had 4,000 persons took part in that poll. It was 10 questions. And yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I don't understand why the numbers.
No. What you have to understand, Kerry, is that I'm saying to you that anything over 1,000 for Jamaica, Jamaicans voting population, it's just a sample. I think it's a small sample that they take. Like you are doing a test in a science lab and you take a sample of a product. The sample represents the entire product. Polling is a science, and it's a very good test of people's perception. In any group of people, you don't need a lot of them to understand what is happening among them.
Okay, but I'm telling you, my poll was involved with 4,000 plus people.
No, man. But if you open a can of corned beef and you're going to test if the corned beef is bad, you don't need to test half the corned beef or a quarter. You just need a little piece of it, because what is in the corned beef is a little part of it represents the entire can of beef or milk.
And what's the margin of error with your 4,000 poll, Kerry?
Looking very good. I was showing up to.
No, what's the margin of error?
Listen, it was showing in the JLP 80% favoring the JLP with this poll. This is
But
on
this
the
is only Portland?
No, this is between actually say 4 different parishes, and these are between hospitals, government workers, police station, and some other. I think, hold on one second.
Neighbor, I expected it to be this close though, neighbor, because I understand how elections are in Jamaica, neighbor, and I know coming down to election it's gonna be like this close now, neighbor. So the next most important part now, neighbor, will be left up to the machinery of both political parties, neighbor, come election day. From campaigning up to election day, neighbor, that will be the most important part now going forward, neighbor.
Well, Scratchy.
Oh, go ahead, Green.
Scratchy.
Okay, so this include 12 private companies also, and it was a total of 4,126 persons supporting this poll. And this is what a team of us, 6, are doing on the ground in Jamaica. So that's why I was asking how many persons. I was so curious how many persons took part in the Blue Dot poll.
No.
All right, Kerry. The larger the number, Kerry. The larger the number, the higher the possibility is of the findings of the poll being off.
Yes, error.
Oh, okay. Because with this poll here, it was leaning 80% towards the JLP.
Yes, so your margin of error maybe 20%.
20.something%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and a margin of error like that wouldn't be something that they can use to judge or to use as a basis for findings.
And the thing is, we were planning to do like, we had, hold on, let me see something. We had 12 more.
All right. 7:30. Charlie.
Yeah, good evening. Good night.
Good evening, sir. Where you calling from?
We were foreign with the
Yeah, foreign. What go on with you?
We just want to catch you up on a little thing when we hear Scratchy and the
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, we just you see it's campaigning, and a good campaigning that's winning an election in the neighbor.
Exactly.
So what the JLP are like right now, the jail from PNP lose the election over 3 years or nearly 4 years now. PNP has been on the ground campaigning, bro. See? And until today, the JLP has not put up foot out there like them ready for campaign. So I don't understand the people them in a Jamaican terms. Them are going to deal with the people them with them and meet and sit on the ground, bro. And it's a good campaign that's win an election, bro. And
No, I believe, to be honest, I believe I was listening to the person from Blue That Neighbor, and she said that they had a methodology where they went inside the all 63 constituencies, neighbor. They went inside all divisions. Or they select the persons who they go to. It wasn't anybody who was sitting outside on any roadside. They went to the boat, to corner houses. They select corner houses to get their response. And if it's every other three house after the first house that they went to. So it wasn't a poll like where they went into, I know like in the town areas, neighbor, and they just a random person to ask the question.
Yeah, man, them going a bar to man, and some of them on the junk, you know.
No, I was saying what the lady said, she went into houses, they went into constituencies in houses.
yeah, man, each constituency have a number.
They went into every division, that's what she said
Yeah.
on Clifford's program early on.
Yeah,
They went into their
division.
houses, they asked persons, if you're an adult in the house neighbor, they ask who's person, the person that the question is. So the house might consist of 4 adults neighbor who can vote. So say the person who they ask the question, they don't normally ask who are 4 persons. The person who engage in the poll is the person whose birthday is the closest coming next.
What?
So that was one of the analogies that methodology that they use to the persons who they choose to ask these questions. So
Okay, but when I did mine, you just had to be able to vote, like 18.
no, they did that's not how they break down theirs. As you said that they did it away, neighbor, where if they came into a community to ask 20 persons, they make sure that they split it based on gender, 10 males, 10 females. So that they could have a better understanding of where the gender stand with both parties as well. I think I mean, based on how she break it down there, but it was very scientific.
Yes.
Based on how the person from Blue that break it down. But again, neighbor,
As
it's not
I said, Scratchy, it makes no sense you cost the poll.
yeah, we can't cost the poll,
The
neighbor.
polls were showing the Labour Party 12 points ahead tonight. No rum, no left in Jamaica.
Yeah, we can't cost the poll, neighbor.
And all the ram goat them would probably have to be running away tomorrow because
Celebration.
it
Because
would be a
neighbor,
celebration.
most of us celebrated this same poll back in February, neighbor.
Yeah, but if you watch since Monday, the results were gradually positive for the party. And I was saying to the Labourites, just easy on yourself, the man. Don't know win the election yet. Everybody's just sharing all the place and the lockdown social media, like say them win the election. Well, tonight I really think, Scratchy, that this is somewhat of a wake-up call for the party. I think they have to recognize that they have not won the election yet and that they have work to do. Don't you think so?
Most definitely, neighbor. The election is not one, and I want also, neighbor, not just for the party, I want persons that use my online, even also as bloggers. Don't think that this election can be won online.
But it's be a scattershot. It's be a scattershot. Them, the West Indies cricket team did very poorly against England yesterday.
Yes.
You're a cricket man, Kraji?
Yes, neighbor. That's one of my sport. That's my second sport. Yeah.
Very good. England made almost 400.
Yes.
And the West Indies went in with such confidence as if they won, not recognizing that the English team was well prepared and skittled them out for 160 odd runs. Do you see any probability at this point, Scratchy, that the Labour Party could end up losing the election?
Neighbor, looking at it, neighbor, it's still advantage Labour Party, neighbor, but what I am seeing, neighbor,
where is the advantage? Where is the advantage right now, Scratchy, with the PNP?
Where I'm seeing the advantage, neighbor, is based on the polls and what I'm seeing, neighbor. It's the same. Mr. Green, mute Mr. Green.
Muting the Scratchy.
Sir Green, mute.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yes.
Yeah, neighbor. The advantage, when I'm seeing the advantage, neighbor, is the fact that yes, they have a tall majority, a 49-14 deficit. They are in governance, they are in government, they have done a lot, neighbor. And what I am seeing now, neighbor, is most of the seats, neighbor, that is in play, neighbor, is the same 15 to around the same 15 seats that the Labour Party won the last elections. Those are the same 15 seats that seems to be in play, neighbor.
But if you look at the graph, Scratchy, the People's National Party is increasing their gains.
Neighbor,
Yes.
I said again, it's a good campaign that's win an election, bro. And I'm telling you this from experience. And I say it already on one live, and that is why I'm out and make stay away from the live then. And when you tell people the truth, them quarrel. PNP.
No, but that's your truth. You have to listen to other person's opinion to Charlie.
Yeah, but me not talk opinion. We are move away from opinion and deal with reality in general. So everybody have an opinion, you know, but what is the reality? What's the true reality? Everybody
The reality, it is after the election day.
No, but reality is there. Because I tell you now what me say happening right now in general. The campaign have a lot to do with the election, but
Oh, what they campaigning with?
with a propaganda room or with them a campaign.
I like how you say propaganda first. 'Cause
Yeah,
that's all I'm hearing from PNP is
Jamaica like that more.
propaganda.
Yes,
My guys,
that's
listen.
you know,
1,600 persons voting this poll, and how many people I'm buying that.
I'm telling you something still. It's a good campaign, my friend. And I see
Charlie, you're 100% correct, Charlie. Campaigning is definitely going to be. That's why I said to neighbor earlier and said, despite where it is at now, neighbor, it is now down to the campaigning and who can get out them voters for an election day. There, so the election are going on. There, so we're going to know who will go win the election. Based on the campaigning and who can bring out them voters for the day.
So guys, I have a question. So you guys have a lot of faith in this Blue Dot poll with 1,600 persons taking part in it?
It's not a matter of faith, Kerry. It's a snapshot at the moment where if the election was to call now. That's what the Blue Dot poll show. We not say we have faith.
Okay. Oh, hold on. Jamaica said that Kerry. Yeah, but I was thinking how I did 4,000. I need to do more. Like I need to, you know.
No, but I'm saying when I do more persons, Kerry, the higher the possibility is of it being off.
Oh, so it's better to do less.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Because we have
Yeah.
like,
That's why I go with
because
poll.
you can't do 300. What you do is look at the voting population, and you calculate what would be a best sample. I think maybe 1,000. If you have 1,000 people scratchy, if you have 1 million people scratchy, 1,000 would be 10%.
Yes. No,
Right. So it's about 5 or 7% of the voting population. That gives you a good representative sample of what the entire population is about. Polling is an accurate science, you know, Kerry.
Exactly.
no, I just really thought that because we were planning like, okay, we need to get in some more.
Yeah, the poll is not accurate. Yeah, it's not accurate. It can be way off. It can just be that the mood that the persons that they talk to at that time. It can be the type of persons who they talk to at that time. So it's not accurate.
No, don't pull up this box for me, please. Who is doing that?
Not me, I don't know.
I can't talk to 8 people all at once.
But definitely though,
You have to
neighbor.
remove people, please.
But definitely though, neighbor, as supporters of the Jamaica Labour Party, neighbor, it is not celebration time for us, neighbor. Definitely, I think you would agree with that,
Gotcha.
neighbor. It's definitely not celebration time.
Gotcha, me can come in here?
Sure, Carl.
Yeah. Neighbor and panel, I've been saying this consistently, and I've been following this thing for a long time. And I've been saying to you, neighbor, if the political work is not being done, all the forecasting that you're doing is not going to work the paper it is written on. I have said it.
No. I
Also
want to
said.
hold on. I want to make the listeners clear that we stand by the forecast, and we have the Labour Party winning as of Thursday 40 seats
Okay,
to
all
the
right,
PNP 18.
all right.
All right. So
Like I said to you,
I don't want that to be confused with what Blue Dot has done. Blue Dot has their formula,
we have our formula where we look at the seats by seats, and we are able to determine what the outcomes in the seats will be using a very well researched formula, and we're standing by those numbers.
Yeah, but neighbor, I'm not discounting that, but I keep saying when it comes to voting is not just numbers in isolation. You have to take into consideration the psychology of the people, okay, the emotions of the people. So yes, you might look, from a numerical standpoint, yes, you might have a point, but a person will say, you know what? Tomorrow morning, I am undecided, and I don't know which party to vote for, and go to bed. All right, I'm going to vote for the Labour Party, and then when they turn up at the poll, they vote the other side, and it just decide that they're not going to the poll. But that's what I want to say. I want to say that the People's National Party has been campaigning for the last 3-4 years, right? And I've been saying consistently.
But campaigning on what, Carl? Campaigning on what?
It doesn't matter. Charles, hold on, neighbor.
It doesn't matter?
Yes, it doesn't matter. You're talking about Jamaica, and the guy just said a while ago, Charlie, is absolutely correct. If you're campaigning and you're campaigning negative, it is campaigning. You're talking about an election in a Jamaican context. You're not talking about election in a developed country like America and England, where people vote based on track record. You're talking about Jamaica now. Propaganda.
Yeah, with Jamaica more love the propaganda and the rumors.
Exactly.
So far, do you think Andrew Holness should just stop doing all this work and just start campaigning on propaganda too?
No, we're not saying, no. That's
a joke. That's a joke.
No, hold on. That is why I'm saying the governing party have a litany of achievements to hit the campaign 3-4 months ago. And if you're studying election in Jamaica, if it was the People's National Party in power, this election would have been called already, because they don't wait until 5 years to call election. They call election within 4 years, and Scratchy knows that. Okay, so all I'm saying, the Labour Party, and I said it before, they need the campaigning on campaigning on achievements alone is not going to win the election, especially when you're an incumbent government going into a third term. I said the Labour Party have to campaign as if they're in opposition, right? And,
Definitely.
And in addition to the achievement that they have gotten already, they've gotten already.
They must sleep.
But talk it already.
Yeah, man, call a Jesus Barabbas will catch you, You Barabbas away with him.
Because look here now, with the record that the government has, this election should not be close any at all. And the writers and the feel it. So the election is going to be close.
This election is not going to be close with them 16 with this blue dot poll and 1,600. It's not going to be close.
No, but Kerry, what you have to understand, if you're following elections, right? Election carry a certain temperature. Okay? I'm not talking about polls per se, no. I'm not talking about polls per se, no. I'm looking at some of the meetings that I've seen kept by the People's National Party. I was looking at a meeting in Wallaston last night, and before the meeting starts, I think it was on Lasonic channel, and he was interviewing a young lady. And she said, the road program, even though it's good that the government is doing, it is coming from the People's National Party. So much as these achievements that the government is doing now, they are saying that it didn't originate with this government. They are giving their party the credit. And that is the dilemma that the Labour Party is facing. A campaign win, a political parties win election. Bush Golden told us that, not government. And the election campaign should have been started. And I said 1 month of campaigning is not going to suffice this election. And I land there. I'm listening.
Them late, my general. Them late with the campaign strategy. Are you all going on? I said this already upon a panel and the people them go to it. PNP know how to mobilize and campaign. JLP no have that in them.
Anyway, so Carl,
Yeah. Yes, I'm listening.
are you at your deck, sir?
Yes, at my decks, yes.
I have a few questions for you.
Yes.
As a political watcher,
Right.
I think the PNP has made an error not to have commented on this poll. And I see I really I don't know if the PNP how the PNP feels, but it would be quite hypocritical of them at this time to even say anything because they have discredited the poll. As you know, it coming out of nationwide. In like manner, the Labour Party is also discrediting Don Anderson. Do we dismiss polls, Carl, at this point? Do we just say, okay, you know what? Let's focus on party strategies and just forget the polls? Do we do that?
Yes, I think there's a place for it, but what you have to understand, neighbor, polls give you an insight as of is a
Yes, but
snapshot
what I'm
of
saying to you,
what's
sir, one party discredits. We have two national polls in Jamaica, Blue Dot and Don Anderson. Blue Dot is now out. The PNP, not one word from them. They don't business with it. Don Anderson will come out in a few weeks. The Labour Party will have nothing to say about it. So the two national polls are discredited by the parties because there are views in either party that the polls are supportive of their party. What does that leave the rest of us to do with the polls?
But one point of interjection though, even though the Labour Party, even though the People's National Party might come out and say they discredit the Blue Dot poll, and the Labour Party, supporters of the Labour Party, and the Labour Party might come out and say that they discredit the Anderson poll, they still take it into consideration. They might not come out publicly with it, but they still look at the numbers. And the political party would not come out and say definitively, especially if the poll numbers is not in their favor. They are, for it. But behind closed doors, they are analyzing the numbers just the same. They might not come out publicly with it. Right?
I agree with you, Carl, because they both done their internal poll and they use Blue Dot and Dan Anderson to guide their internal poll as well. I agree with you, Carl.
Yes, but it's common sense. So even though the People's National, they know, and even the meeting yesterday, they know that even though the poll numbers is not with them, because they're not going to come out and celebrate it, they are looking at it, and I trust you, they are concerned too, because the poll numbers is not showing any dramatic movements towards them. The only thing that I am saying, neighbor, and to the rest of you guys, with the performance of this government, right? I expect that. I am not saying that we are not going to win, and we still can win upwards of 40 seats. But at the same time, we should have started the political work already. We are 3 months away from a general elections, and we have 2 seats.
Carl, what is it that the Labour Party is missing in terms of its own methods, its own means of communicating? Because I hear this argument about best government in history, record achievements. Jamaica, crime is down, the economy is growing, record number of jobs, social services are at their best. It is not reflected in voter intention.
No, because you see, neighbor, Jamaican, the history showing us Jamaican people on a whole always have this rice and peace syndrome, for Marcus Garvey days, you know what I mean? The more people do, the worse it turn out. That's me the point out Jesus and Barabbas. Regardless of what the poll say, if Jamaica Labour Party they're 14 points ahead, the end of the day it going to be rice and peas, because that is how good at sell out. So I just one of them things there.
And in addition to that, neighbor, to answer your question directly, you see, we as a people, we don't learn to look at the glass half full, right? We look at it half empty. Some of us are working, right? We might not, we might not be able to do all what we want to do, but we are not looking at where we are coming from. That before,
Carl, here's the elephant in the room. Is it true that the party has fixed the macroeconomy, but that there are problems at the micro level, and that is where the party is finding its support lacking? Is that the truth?
yes, to some extent, I would agree, but you have to look at it from the point of view that the unemployment rate is down to record low.
But it is not reflected.
No, but hold on.
In terms of income levels.
Yeah, but hold on, neighbor. I would not say it's not reflecting. As I said, some people look at the glass half empty instead of half full. Okay? Some people are not looking at where they were at a couple of years or a couple of months ago. Right? Yes, they were working last year, but this year they are working, right? And they might be earning, and they say, but the money is not, it can't do nothing. You know what I mean? And then you have an opposition now that is telling them that nothing not going. And they're looking to their circumstances, not looking at, before I wasn't earning, but now I'm earning, and the money, you cannot do what I want to do. And so I don't want to call it ungratefulness, because, I don't want to belittle people's struggles. You know what I mean? But some people don't look at the glass half full and say, listen, I am now working. I never was working before, right? This money is not sufficient. But what I can do now to supplement my income, you get additional training, start a business, I do something, and to uplift myself. People when you hear people coming on this TikTok live every day talking about minimum wage, and the minimum wage cannot do nothing. The minimum wage in every country cannot do nothing. If you're working minimum wage, it's just a stepping stone for you to improve yourself and go up the ladder. So the government has done a lot to satisfy people at the micro level with the LIFT program, with the ART program, with the social pension program. I heard people getting the social pension program, and they are saying the money is as if they were comfortable not getting anything. So you see, we are caught in a bind. And we do not, and we want everything to be fixed immediately, right? This government is trying to correct the country, at a steady pace. Mind you, it might not be as fast as enough, but people are not willing to sacrifice and wait until it reaches a certain ascendancy. We want the problem to be solved tomorrow, right? And the track record of the other government. The track record of the other government, they has not performed anywhere near this government. As a matter of fact, no government has. So the question out there, and it is easy to put your frustration on the government when you're not living a certain type of life, and people do not like to take responsibility, right? So the government has caught itself in a bind, even though I still think they have the advantage going into the election. But all I'm saying, neighbor, the campaign has to start. We cannot wait until the final month for campaign. We cannot bank on the achievement of the government to win this election. We have to campaign as if we are in opposition. And remember now, the other party has been out there for the better part of 4 years. So they are telling the people that nothing going on. If a little thing, even with this drill thing, the evidence is out there, and I listen to a live today, and trust me, they are willing to sell any negative, and negative sells. So it's not a matter of the People's National Party campaigning and things that is not substantial. The fact is they are out there, and people are seeing them, and they are listening to them, right? The government, we are campaigning, Labour Party is campaigning, but I think that we need to step it up like tonight. It need to step up and get into high gear going into election.
All right, Carl. Thank you so much here.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Foresight,
Night, neighbor. What's up? Bless
how
up,
are you, sir?
everybody. I'm good, I'm great.
Foresight. I'm not a follower of polls. I have not listened to the poll all week. I'm only commenting on it because it is topical tonight. It appears as if the Labour Party tonight has found itself in a very awkward position. And I am here thinking, Foresight, that somehow for Holness, he must be discouraged. And I'm going to tell you why. Because it appears as if the more you do for people, the less they appreciate what you do. And I believe that when the cabinet sits on Monday, they're going to have to ask themselves a question, where did we fail the people?
Messaging.
Where did we fail the people? Because here we are, every Monday morning, meeting on their behalf, planning for them, doing all we can to lift them up. And by the statistics, by the results, it appears as if they have, to some extent, achieved that. But the people are saying, we're not sure that we want to give you a third term at this point. How is the cabinet going to respond to this on Monday morning?
Neighbor, I think we have discussed this over and over. I heard you say earlier that the micro issues are not being dealt with. It's not that the government has not done much. They have done a lot to address the micro issues, but they have not said a lot about them. They have not spoken enough about them, right?
My moderator, please, I'm going to ask you to let Kerry come here and tell me what is it that I'm saying that don't make sense. All right, Kerry? I'm inviting you to tell me that. Go ahead, Foresight.
Right. So the achievements are there, right? And you have persons with pinpoint at all levels that are being addressed by the government. But I think the message is at the higher end. I think it's a message that is mostly focused, mostly targeting, mostly focused on the macro achievements. That's where the message is. The message is not yet on the ground to tell the micro, the persons who are affected by these bread and butter issues, that, hey, these are policies that are actually improving the quality of your life. Not much is being said about that. And I think that's where the problem is. But the opposition is speaking to these people. They are talking about the cost of living issues. I don't think the government has said enough to adequately address these issues. And that's where the problem is. It's nothing different, neighbor. I don't even want to sound like a scratch record, but I've maintained this. I'm not even so surprised, because I think more needs to be said, right? We will talk about the hospitals being renovated. We'll talk about the buses being imported and the police cars, but we're not necessarily talking about, the social pension.
You and I have had many discussions on this program, Foresight, and I have been very consistent. Have I not been consistent to the point where I have offended many labor rights because I have sought to speak the truth? Is it that I am becoming? Does this not poll confirms what I have been saying all along?
Yeah, we would have had conversations about it. The polls are not reflecting that. I mean, there's a block of voters. When we talk about the common man, this is what we're talking about, neighbor. You have to speak to them. You can't just do for them. You have to actually.
But why Foresight is our Labour Party supporters less enthusiastic about voting for their own party? The polls are showing that the PNP supporters have the edge in term. You want to tell me that labor rights in Jamaica, Jamaica, no, hold on, in Jamaica are not 100% enthusiastic about re-electing their government that they say is the best performing government. That is amazing.
Well, that's what happened, you know. Performance don't win elections. It going to require more. It's going to take more than performance in a neighbor to win the election. The communication.
The polls show, sir, that the People's National Party supporters are more enthusiastic.
Because they're doing more political work, neighbor. Our party is still.
But it's not political work that the Labour Party. Doesn't the Labour Party supporters support the government?
Yeah, but you still. The communication and political work is very crucial, you know, neighbor, in winning an election and in energizing your base and in getting people, you know, to actually
Let me ask you this, Foresight. Is there a pain point in Jamaica that has been underreported, under-evaluated? Yes, that the government is not paying attention to. Is there a block of people that are struggling, that are suffering in Jamaica, that the prosperity have not reached them? Is there something in the Jamaican society that you laborites have missed? Is the cost of living hurting people, and they feel that the government, they blame the government for it? Is it an inflation issue?
The thing is, the PNP has been campaigning about cost of living. What is the government's message to address that or to respond to that? If you can recall, the government has said very little to address. So it's like the PNP is talking about one set of problems.
Sorry, I am understanding that I'm having a delay. You're not hearing me?
No, I'm hearing your neighbor.
You are hearing me?
Yeah.
Is there a, you know, KC, who we are expecting in a few moments, said something to me about the voting population in Jamaica being very close. We're not expecting maybe a million and one, maybe 900,000 people to vote.
Yeah, and neighbor, a million and one will be a lot too.
And Scratchy, he said that among the people that vote in Jamaica, the parties have always been close.
Neighbor, I've shared that sentiment with you as well, neighbor. I have also shared, I told you that there's about 450 voters between the both parties, neighbor. They share the same base.
Correct. And so once the PNP's base returns, you can't see no poll in Jamaica really that is going to show any party 12 or 8 points ahead, you know. It's always
exactly. Exactly.
But you're the part of the poll.
Foresight, let's make the foresight. One correction though. I want to say something, neighbor. I think the Labour Party supporters are out now because it is down to the party base. I think the problem the Labour Party has now is with the undecided voters. We have more undecided voters than ever before. So it is down to the both bases of the party. It's the undecided voters that we need now to pivot towards the government. They can continue.
Okay.
That's where a lot of silent.
No, I want you to answer my question, sir. Are you missing something in Jamaica? Is the party missing the pain points?
We're asking that.
You?
Oh, no, neighbor. I don't think they're missing it. I just think they're not speaking enough about it. I say it's a messaging problem. It's not a case where the government is not delivering. Right? The PNP is talking a lot about.
What are the people feeling? Are the people feeling things you're talking about?
They're not saying enough about what you're doing to address the problems, right? So the JLP is talking about the infrastructure, right? The urban centers, right? You're talking about the number of police cars that they import, right? They are talking about the school buses. But in terms of cost of living, the bread and butter issues, the message needs to be stronger there. That's all I'm saying. It's not that they're not doing enough.
That's true.
They talk about
Foresight.
But Foresight, you don't have the time. You don't have any more time.
No, we have enough time. And one of the things.
Do you have the time really?
It comes down, What's in it for me? That's what the average voter is going to ask. So what about the income tax threshold? Right? What about the salary increases? The JLP hardly speak about those things.
Yes, sir, but I hear Mr. Hughes saying 8 weeks, and he should know. Yes, he should know that the maximum time we have left to cast our ballots in Jamaica is 9 weeks.
1 month in politics is a lot of time, neighbor. And another thing I want you to understand, that poll is reflecting all the where the JLP was prior to the urban center being open, you know, neighbor. What the euphoria around the urban center and what would have happened since that time is not captured in this poll.
No, but remember, say politics local, whatever happened to the urban center, we mostly dominate for persons who living in St. Thomas.
No, but I would have think that the JLP would have gained some political points since the urban center.
Let me ask you a question. Mr. Samuda. I think Mr. Samuda is listening. That's Mr. Adrian Samuda. You can take this question if Mr. Samuda is willing to answer. Is the PNP gaining traction from negative campaigning, or is the PNP gaining traction from alternative policies that are attractive, better than that which the government now is pursuing? Or is it voter fatigue? Is it just that the people having, been in this relationship for the last 9 years,
10 years.
want to try someone else? Is this just that?
No, neighbor.
I think that's a part of it as well, neighbor. I think voter fatigue is a big part of it, neighbor. Neighbor, one of the things what I look at, neighbor, Forsyth talk about messaging. Messaging is a big, important thing. Neighbor, look at how the PNP is carrying out their message. Neighbor, look at even with this drill saga. It is being carried out by who? A person who is seeking some form of election, a person who is a candidate in the People's National Party. It is not, you don't say Mark Gold, you don't say the gen sec of the party. It is being done by Mr. Dawes. Even look at the whole water quality thing the other day. We saw where a mere councillor took up that on his hand. He was gaining a lot of media attention from it. Now, when you look at the Jamaica Labour Party, neighbor, and how we carry out our message is being spent by one person, neighbor. One person.
Yes, and the Labour rights will knock me for this, but I see Mr. Marlon Morgan in Cliffview studio. Mr. Morgan.
Neighbor, I'm going to tell you something. You see this Mr. Morgan thing, neighbor, they need to know how they are marketing Morgan. Morgan is not on the ballot, neighbor. We need persons who are on the ballot, persons who are seeking re-election to come and talk on the party behalf, neighbor. Too much of this, Mr. Morgan.
But we have said this before, the neighbor. We need more than just a one politician or two politicians to be carrying the message. We need all politicians to be echoing the message.
Why they didn't put Rhoda in the studio this evening, sir?
Exactly.
What Mr. Morgan are doing in the studio?
Crystal Lee.
You have something personal against Mr. Morgan, neighbor.
No, I don't think he's ready. I just don't think he is I don't think he communicates very well. I think when you look at Mr. Morgan, I think he used too much army hat one time. Total nonsense.
I think he used too much big words still. But let me just say this. In terms of the traction, no, I don't see the People's National Party gaining any traction per se. What I think is happening, neighbor.
What you mean you're not gaining any traction, Carl? No, they picked up 4 points between February and March. Doing nothing?
No, hold on. Just hold on, please. I'm saying I'm not seeing there's no groundswell for the People's National Party. The numbers are just about the same. Okay,
exactly.
Hold on. So the numbers are just about the same, right? What I think is what is causing so much concern for us, we are looking at the performance of the government and say there should be a clear, distinct distance between the People's National Party and our party. I don't know for somebody else, because if you look at the People's National Party, there were 31% in May, in February in this poll. There are still 31%. The only thing that we fell down by 1%. And the undecided.
No, sir, did you see the poll? The PNP has gained 4 points.
No. The party standing was 35 towards the Labour Party and 31 towards the People's National Party. The last election, the last in February poll, it was 34 towards the Jamaica Labour Party and 28.
So if you're at then if you're at 28 and again 30,
Yeah,
no, they gain points.
Well, they gain 3 points while we
They
drop
gain
1
4
point.
points.
It's
It
35.
was 27, they gain
31.
4 points.
They're-
They gain 4 points while we drop 1, but while we drop a point. But still,
No, we didn't drop any point.
No groundswell. There's no groundswell. If you look, there's no groundswell that that is telling us that the moment. What has also happened too? The undecided block has increased, and there are a lot of people that there are more people that cannot decide whether or not Mark Gold is to lead the country as against Andrew Holness. The poll highlight that. But separate and apart from that, what I want to highlight, neighbor, is that unfortunately, I have been feeling this thing from the last month or so, and that's why I was so adamant that the party hierarchy need to get the campaign going on, tackle the seats, and hit the road. When you say that people say you must not say it because they know what they're doing. They have run 2 elections already. And see now we have maximum 8, 9 to 12 weeks from a general election, having 2 unsettled seats. Somebody's making
And not just hit the road. Not just hit the road.
all right,
but
case is on. Let's just see what
yeah, man, I just want to say this. The government, in its message, needs to address the pain point, personal pain points of the people as well. When they hit the road, they need to. The bread and butter issues, more needs to be said about.
Now,
Well, my thing is neighbor again to neighbor.
What? Go ahead,
And I
Spence.
think the political Jamaica Labour Party, but the JLP Labour Party has to know what they're doing, neighbor. If you look at the favorability ratings of Mark Golding and the favorability ratings of the PNP, neighbor, Mark Golding might have a slight 1 point or a 2 point lead above the PNP. But when you look from the JLP side, the party leader is outperforming the political party itself, neighbor. That simple mean, neighbor, that other members that make up the political arm, neighbor, are not as popular, or they are not making themselves as much relevant to the masses then. And I think that is the issue, neighbor, that is affecting the Jamaica Labour Party. The message is there, but for 10 years, neighbor, we have been getting the message from one person. And I think there's some type of fatigue surrounding our population with the messaging being sent by that one person. And we have
You're talking about Holness.
Yes, Mr. Holness is the person who has been for 10 years now, neighbor. Imagine you have one teacher for 10 years. At some point in time, you'll get reckless.
what we've seen on the JLP side is a little bit more. So there was a dip after the election, and then they struggled to rebound.
All right, let's see if I can take this.
However, still 1/3. They have
That's a slogan, that's a party slogan,
They have heard so far the national outlook, wrong direction, right direction, all of that. Trust in the Prime Minister, favorability of the leaders, trust in the fitness of Mr. Golding to be Prime Minister, all of that so far. But what does it mean for what people intend to do when they step into that voting booth? And so we now have those results. We asked, if a general election were being held today, which political party's candidate would you vote for in your constituency? 35% of voters would select the JLP candidate in their constituency, causing the JLP to hold a narrow lead over the opposition, who would garner 31%. However, still 1/3 of the electorate remains undecided. Cliff, you are projecting 12 weeks out from an election. So 3 months out, we still have 1/3 of the electorate undecided. Now, I want us to understand that This is the lowest that the undecided proportion has been for quite some time, right? And so if we are to look at this question over time, we see some fluctuations happening as far back as September 2020, right? So that was right before the last election. We had a 49-32 split. We know what the result of that election turned out to be. Things have shifted, and now we are back to 35 for the JLP and 31 for the PNP. The PNP has slowly picked up momentum, and we need to not ignore that. Let's look at the numbers through time. September 2021, 22%. A year later, 18%. By February 2023, 21%. September 2023, 25%. February 2024, 28%. Again, same proportion in September 2024 and February 2025 at 28%. And now inching up again, 31%. It suggests a slow and steady, slow burn type of ground swelling type of approach. Every time we do the poll, they pick up a little bit more, and they pick up a little bit more, and they pick up a little bit more, and it has not reverted, right? It's not dipping and coming up and dipping, and it's consistent, trudging along and growing.
And so if you were to do a graph, it would show a steady...
It would show a steady rise from that 22% a year after the last election, now reaching 31%, what we are projecting to be potentially 3 months out.
What would it show from the JLP if you did a graph? That graph, it would show from 37% to 35%.
Right. So what we've seen on the JLP side is a little bit more... So there was a dip after the election, and then they struggled to rebound from that dip. And since then, for some time, almost a year, it was just holding steady, right? So their graph would be a lot more interesting in terms of shape. So it's going to start high. It would have dipped.
All right. So we have that. We have Adrian Samuda here from the People's National Party. Good night, Mr. Samuda.
Good night, neighbor.
Yes, I think we should tell the listeners that you are associated with the Kurt Walls campaign, right, sir?
Yes, definitely.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes,
and
you're a member of the People's National Party.
Yes, I am.
Great. Mr. Samuda, the People's National Party have not decided to comment on the Blue Dot polls. And so your comments, I trust, are your own, right?
That's my own independent comment. Any comment I make.
Fantastic. We clear that. Scratchy is our co-host, and Mr. Samuda, tell me what do you make of these polls?
Well, the poll is a reflection of what the Jamaican people are facing. You know, I am labeled as a PNP, but as I've always tell people, I am a businessman first and a citizen of Jamaican.
But you're not labeled as a PNP, Mr.
first.
You are a member of the party.
Yeah, I am a member of the party, but I became a member of the party 2020. All my life I have been a business operator. I have been a father, a husband, prior to being a member of the party. So when I speak as a business operator and as a father, as a husband. Now, what the polls are reflecting, notwithstanding the macro achievement, is what the households are going through and business operators are facing. And we can see it in Southwest St. Catherine right here in the business community.
Would you say though, Mr. Samuda, that Jamaica is not divorced from the world, and that some of our economic indicators are outside of the control of the government? In other words, were the PNP to be the government?
All right, neighbor.
Yes.
Let us be realistic now, neighbor. You can't tell a man up at Barton's about what going in America. A man up at Barton's, a man up at Planters, Red Ground, anywhere in Oldava, cares about his personal well-being. So
yes, Mr. Samuel, but if we are going,
hold on, neighbor.
Yes, sir.
People really don't matter. That doesn't affect people directly.
Yes,
What people, let's say people in Barton's care about. Let me go to Bamber Ridge. When I go to Bamber Ridge, and you say you speak about Jamaica, they don't care about the highway, the byways. What they care about? Oh, I don't have any water. I don't have any road. I can't send my child to school because of the inability to afford it.
Yes, Mr. Samuda, but the economy can nyamsa. Because if you don't address the macro economy,
we understand that from an intellectual point of view, because as an intellect, I can reason like that. But when you're going a whole of a market,
don't you have a responsibility, Mr. Samuda, when you have your corner meetings to get the people to
neighbor?
Yes,
it's
sir.
not my responsibility to get people to understand when they will not understand. When I talk to today I went on the phone, neighbor.
Yes.
And I spoke to one individual that you and I know.
Yes.
I called a business operator in Maypen, the individual that you know operate a farm. I spoke to a business operator in Maypen who operates a printery. I spoke to a business operator in Kingston because I wanted to get a feel of what is really happening, neighbor. I spoke to a business operator in Kingston, and I spoke to one in Spanish Town. So I said, what business? And everyone has had similar view. Business is down, consumer spending is down. And the reason why, if we go back to academics, basic economy, it will say that if there's a contraction with household spending, a basic economy, first level economy.
Yes. You are a former banker, Mr. Samuda. Do you not agree?
Household spending cut, neighbor.
Yeah.
It will if there's a contraction in household, there's an income and spending.
Do you not agree? Though?
Business.
Do you not agree though that it is very important that the government addresses the macroeconomic economy so that the trickle down can reach those people up in Bamboo Ridge, and that if the government does not reduce the debt and grow the economy, Bamboo Ridge will never be able to get the type of development that they need up there. Is it not true that it is important to focus on
if this government were a government of America, this government would have had only 2 terms to prove it to the American people. Biden campaign on transformation of the economy, but the people fell out of love with Biden because of the micro aspect of American economy. So Biden lost. The Biden didn't lose because of people never liked Biden. When I spoke to my friends in America, they never liked Donald Trump, but they didn't want Biden because they must feel it on a household level, on a business level.
Yes, all right, Mr. Samuda. So the PNP wins the election in September or whenever the election is called. What is going to change for the people in Bamboo Ridge?
Well, the People's National Party philosophies and policies have always surrounded creating policies that affects people from the bottom level upward. The JLP policy surrounds the trickle-down factor, which is what is affecting people right now. So you're speaking about trickling down, but how long will it take to reach the middle working class, middle class, and lower level people, which is what is happening in Jamaica right now.
But to
And
be
these
fair,
are
Mr. Samuda, doesn't it not take time to address these
how long?
Huh?
15 years? I
Well,
am 41. I am
guess
41. I
you
am
would have
41.
to-
Yo, I am 41 years old this year.
Yes.
My clock is ticking.
Yes.
Should I, as a business operator, sit down and wait while you are looking at members of parliament? Hold on.
But
You're
Mr.
looking at members of parliament.
Some would say that based on where the country was in 2016, the difficulties that the government faced at that time, with a debt to GDP of way over 120%, that they would need time. Yeah, I mean, Mr. Samuda, roads aren't built overnight.
You know what Portia said? I remember when Portia was the prime minister. I was much younger.
Yes.
But Portia's popular phrase was balance people life while balancing the books. I can't forget. What the JLP government has failed on doing is to balance people life while they are balancing the books. And it's just simple.
Mr. Samuda, they would tell you that they have created 250,000 new jobs. Is that not balancing lives?
Never. On the social pyramid right now, if we should create a social pyramid, there's going to be a new category of people called the working poor. So there's a wide cross section right now of working poor who, before they get the next pay slip, their money is done. And if you neighbor, you know this. So don't act like you don't know this. I traverse.
Neighbor, can I ask a question?
Hold on,
because I love to come in as well.
Hold on a little bit. Just give him a little time. Yes, go ahead.
Yes. So whilst we can say that the numbers are showing that the unemployment rate has been lowered, but affordability within the household have weakened.
Yeah, but let us agree. Hold on for a second. Let us accept, Mr. Samuel, that there are challenges in Jamaica.
You think that bad?
Hold on.
And then
Mr. Dawes, that there are challenges in Jamaica. I think we agree with that. I have tried to expostulate some of these, the aspirations of the poor not being addressed, the whole matter of poverty, the poverty of aspirations. My listeners know my view, but I am asking you, sir, that the PNP wants to become the government, and if it gets the opportunity to become the government, how is it addressing these very issues that you are lamenting?
Well, the first thing that we have to do is to ensure that while we are balancing the books, we balance people's lives. If not,
what does that mean, really, Mr. Samuel, to the people?
Ways, I can't answer how we do that or the decision that the party is going to make. Correct. But if Mark Golden becomes the prime minister, when he becomes the prime minister, if he makes the same mistake that Andrew Holness has made, he will fall in the same trap like Andrew Holness.
And tell us what is the mistake. Tell us what is the mistake, Mr. Samuel. Based on
Holness Andrew Holness has not found a remedy to balance people's life while balancing the books. Now, household spending has cut significantly. There's a contraction. And as I said, I like to refer to
according to which stats though?
The economy is under contraction right now. And it has been like this prior to COVID. And this contraction that
went back to growth? The economy went back to growth?
No, economy can grow. However, policies can create a contraction within households, which is what is happening now.
What policies? What policies would you say are causing those contractions? Specifically.
The macro policies are
but causing. That's broad. When you say macro policies, that's broad, man.
No, I don't have the time to be that specific. But customer want jerk chicken or that.
Here with Mr. Samuda, he's at work. And we give people a chance to speak on this program, okay?
No.
Let's listen to him.
Close back the door, please. If I should go that close back the door, if I should go that deep, it's gonna take up my entire time. But I'm just speaking now, not as a politician or a member of the People's National Party. I'm speaking as a father, as a husband, and as a business operator. Now, even today, I spoke to a business operator who used to come to my place on average twice per week. And he said to me, Samuda, you know, sister, me can barely come. I have to cut. And this is a general sentiment out there. People have to cut.
But Samuda,
hold on, and let me
I
just
can
make one
find
more
5
comment.
business operator that is saying otherwise.
No.
And so they are making more money.
No, we can. There's always anomalies.
So
no.
why is mine an anomaly and
No,
not yours?
but Mr. Samuda,
I randomly call people. I randomly speak to
foresight.
people.
What I would ask Mr. Samuda foresight is a neighbor, and even the persons in the chat can answer. Neighbor, does sometime when I hear persons talk about what is not going on and what is going on, neighbor, it left me to wonder sometime, neighbor. Neighbor, can it not be that the economy is doing for neighbor? And because of my poor choices that I have made, neighbor, I am not benefiting from the economy foresight. It cannot be possible.
Of course, and I just want to add to that because I'm going to say something. The data, not Adrian Samuda's opinion now, the data, right? These are people who are trained, right, to measure poverty. It's showing that poverty now is at its lowest, right, in East Jamaica, 8.2%. Which means that PNP has never done a better job in addressing the issue of poverty in Jamaica. Why then should we trust the PNP, right, to do a better job to address this issue of poverty? They have never done it before. The data has shown that this is not Adrian Samuda's opinion now.
All right, let me just refer quickly
You're
to
going
the
based on
poverty.
feelings, my brother.
Let me refer quickly to the poverty rate. Do you know how they measure poverty in Jamaica?
Brother, the same way they have been measuring poverty.
Well, answer my question. What do they use? What are the indicators that they use to measure who is poor and who is not? They are saying that they categorize somebody as poor who is living off $6.84 US per day. Multiply that by 160 US and you'll see what that is. The average Jamaican expected survival is far greater than that per day. So it is going to skew the data. If we should look at raw data, it will say that poverty is going to be low because the average Jamaican really and truly live off more than that. They're also saying that
Yes, sir, but we're not making a comparison.
Mr. Samuda, we're not going to make a point like that broadly and here. Because when time it is at 21%, you guys blast and say yes. So what they want to be at 21, it go down to 8.5. We must celebrate that.
Bro, we are not saying that people who were poor, once poor, are now rich. You see, what I realize with the PNP, when they are making their comparison with the jail, when they are looking at the JLP achievements, they are making a comparison between what the JLP achieves and a perfect Jamaica, right? We are not saying Jamaica is perfect. We have two parties, and you are trying to campaign for your party, saying your party will do a better job. So the comparison.
I said to you, I am not in any campaign mode tonight. I am speaking.
No, hold on. You're in campaign mode. I'm saying the comparison must be between your party's performance, right, and the JLP's performance.
I am not making any comparison either. I'm speaking as a Jamaican.
But it's pointless then because
I am speaking how I feel.
No, but you're suggesting that PNP will do a better job. When the track record doesn't show that.
A while ago. I am suggesting that if and when Mark Golding becomes the next Prime Minister, if he fails at balancing people's life while balancing the book, dog name him supper. So I am speaking.
I think Adrian, Mr. Samuda, I think it's good. I think it's good for the government to balance the books, but I think balancing your life should not be the sole responsibility of the government.
No, it is not the sole responsibility, but policies and the environment that you create enables that. I am
That's
not
where
asking
balance in
any
the books. That's
government.
where balance in the books coming
I am
from
not
the
asking any
government.
government to come and give people hands out. I don't believe in hands out. I don't believe in that thing. People supposed to work. Me not
Yeah, but
believe it.
you
I don't
can't
even
really
like.
balance people's
I don't
lives,
even
you know.
like beggars.
Because in order
Some-
for you to generate the revenue to fix the micro issues, you have to fix the macro issues, brother.
But how long
That's-
is it going to take? So how long is it going to take? So you're
It
saying that
depends on
people
what you
should
inherit. It
You're sure-
depends.
you're-
It depends on the number of problems, bro, that we had to fix. That's what
Well,
it depends on.
You see,
A
foresight.
car that has a dent, right? Just a dent on it, will take a much shorter time to fix than a car that is written off,
You see, foresight.
right? So you
That's
can't
why-
say how long it will take. This is not
No.
a campaign speech, you know. This is not something that I would be telling a voter or a potential voter. But
Foresight.
I'm talking to you now.
If the government had found a solution to balance people's life, they would not have been in defense mode right now. And I've listened.
So Mr. Samuda.
I know. I have been drawn to Neighbors program because I know him personally, and one of the individuals who are guests on your page, I am close to him. So ever since I found this TikTok page, I have been listening because of I know Neighbor and I know Casey.
So Adrian, Mr. Samuda.
Let me just finish. What I have found in listening is that you are more defending in defense mode. I don't gravitate to listening a solely PNP program also. I like to find reasonable conversation. And I said to them the other day, neighbor, find people who are not partisan to invite on your program. We don't want to hear pure labor right attack. Because we want to listen to neighbor show, you know. But if you have people pure labor right being biased to the program, it will show off people. Because at the end of the day, we are Jamaican first. This is not about Labour Right Party thing or PNP party thing. It's about what we are going through.
No, but this is about campaigning time, and each party have a policy, and we choose a party, we push a policy, but we favor.
You are in defense mode right now because of what the party have allowed you guys to be in. You don't have to defend every day like that, like defend, and of course, if the party did not put you in this position, you'll be smiling.
Why defend? Because of the misinformation where come from PNP.
No, because of
And the
people
propaganda.
because of people
And that we're defense against. I'm going to ask you a question, Mr. Samuda. I'm going to ask you one question. Would you agree that Jamaica is in a better position than it was 10 years ago?
Better position in what way?
Economically, we are in a better economical position than it was 10 years ago.
Macroeconomy have be specific.
I talk about overall, economy overall. We're in a better position than we were 10 years ago.
I agree on a macro level when you look at debt to GDP and debt to GDP mainly. The country is in a better position. But my argument to that is it was bound to happen.
Not only debt to GDP,
It was
more
bound to, it
persons
was
are
bound,
living better, brother.
it was bound to happen based on the restructuring of the economy coming from the JDX into Peter Phillips and Portia. So Andrew Holness had to carry on. Now, the issue that I'm having is not debt to GDP, is that it is with the microeconomy. Then another issue I'm having is where the Andrew Holness-led government has been rushing to pay down the debt too fast. Now, let me give you a general scenario before you actually come in. Imagine you live with your wife and you take out a car loan or let's say a mortgage for 30 years. And your mortgage is 100,000 per month over a 30-year period. And you are going to your wife and you say, wifey, I want to pay down this mortgage in 10 years. Tie your belly. And we are going to pay, rather than paying 100,000 per month, we are going to be paying 200,000 per month. And you're paying that 200,000 per month, and your refrigerator is going empty. Your wife wants a hairstyle, and you say, wifey, go and tie your belly. Can't get no hairstyle. Your pitney want a gift. You say, we can't buy the gift. We have paid on the debt. We have paid on the debt. Brother, you'll get bun left, right, and center. All the pitney more hate you, which is what is happening in Jamaica right now.
But when they done it, they want a house before old age take care, you pass on that debt to your kids.
Right. Scratchy, try that with your woman, no? Try that with your woman, no? See if you get one.
How when you do good, your woman born the same way. How when you do good, try when you pay down. How when you do she born the same way.
All your neighbor go there with your woman.
Anyway you do, you will get born.
No?
So I pay the debt.
Pay down the debt and not take care of your house, no?
Yeah, but you see, here, John, my problem, you know, is that
I'm sorry, Mr. Samuda said neighbor will they will take with scratchy one.
Not this neighbor. So you have to take care of your yard and manage the bank loan at the same time. Pace yourself while you take care of your yard.
We're running out of time. We're running out of time. So Mr. Samuda, the poll is suggesting some positives for the people. Mr. Samuda, and what do you think is going to happen now?
It is not surprising because of voter fatigue. And yes, when you look at the comparison between 2020 and now, the PNP is more ready right now. The ground is fertile. When you look 2020 versus 2025 now, PNP base is energized, fully energized. When I joined politics 2020, and you go on PNP yard neighbor, they not even want to come out and say aye.
Yes.
I had family neighbor who tell me say it was waste of time to go into politics 2020, and those were PNP family home. Now where the party is at right now, the base is fully energized, and that is good for the party. Oh, other than that, it is based on how people are feeling. People are feeling neighbor out there. People can barely make ends meet, bro.
You know, there's a lot of listeners up here, you know, not wanting me to have this conversation with you, but I don't agree with them at all. The fact of the matter, listeners, is that there are two parties in Jamaica, and we must be tolerant of other people's view. You don't have to agree, but you can at least be respectful to listen.
We don't have to agree with the neighbor, but at the end of the day, respect goes out to everybody.
Yes.
We don't put politics over people. And if I see anybody on the road, it must be black, but me not going to say nobody who will leave, all right?
Yes.
Keep that in my DNA. Just love to everybody.
Yes. All right. Mr. Samuda, boy, I thank you for joining, and take good care of yourself.
Thank you very much.
Great. All right. So all right. Foresight?
Yes, neighbor.
Yeah, Foresight. We have to be tolerant of everyone's view. That's true, sir.
Yeah, but yeah, we have spoke PNP on numerous occasions.
Yeah. We don't have to be like that. Okay. All right. Casey?
Hello?
Casey?
Hello?
I'm hearing you. Are you hearing me, sir?
Neighbor?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Casey, the
my background is nice for the most part.
Your background?
Yes, neighbor.
Yes. Casey, the Blue Dot
Yes.
polls came out today, and we've had some discussions on it, not in depth.
Yes.
Can I get your initial response to the Labour Party ahead by 4 points? Is this something you were expecting?
Yes, neighbor, because what you have to understand, there are a few parish that the governing party would have lost some points. A lot of it would have been in St. Mary, as I suggested before, and they would have lost a few points across Manchester. And
Are you
also in St.
are you
Andrews
saying to me that you
and that would have been that would have been their own doing.
Yes. So are you saying to me that internal matters of the party, in terms of the settling of seats, is why there is this fall off in support, or apparent fall off in support? Why is the Labour Party not further ahead? Are you saying to me that this is well up?
There's neighbor.
Yes, sir.
You're checking. You're reacting to a poll, not an election. So when you're going to say a fall off in support, it is not really correct. It's a fall off in voters' sentiments in terms of their opinion of matters at the time. And if you realize the poll 3 months ago. Give me a second.
Yes. All right. Yeah, we have our forecast with us, KC, and we are discussing with him.
I think the poll is picking up some frustration though among voters.
Yes, I don't want to pay too much attention to the comments in the in the group. Wait until you hear me tomorrow. I'm going to address all of these comments tomorrow and tell you all where you are at. Just tune in tomorrow, Saturday. We don't have time now. It's
but I can say this, don't neighbor. It's still early.
Darlaston in you all making up pull up a nice. You're only 4 points ahead. Yes, but you find time for course. What you should all be doing is the poll is showing that the PNP supporters are more energetic, enthused about voting for their party than for your party that you say is the best government ever. Something wrong with that. Don't cuss me. I didn't do any poll. All right. So don't cuss me.
Neighbor, ignore the comments, man.
No. Some of them get a little too over personal. And one other thing. Let me say this, because let me tell you all something. I can defend I've gone to the Supreme Court and defending myself by myself. I don't need anybody to defend me, okay? Just relax. Yes? We're gonna relax. You are out there talking about your government being the best performing government. I want to make the PNP out voting, in terms of enthusiasm. How can that be? That's what you must go address. Right? I am here trying to give you guys some advice sometimes. You see, all was jumping up over the place from Monday, running up and down the place. And I said to you, easy yourself. Yeah, elections aren't won on social media. It's won on the day in the ballot box. Right? That is not, you get all excited because guess what? You think that we must come up here and parrot the party's thing. You have Mr. Morgan going into Cliffview studio in a black suit. Yes, putting on army hat. Go and talk to him. He's been paid to do PR for the party. I am not. I am not. Okay? All right. So we're waiting for Casey to join.
But we have to also look at the fact that, neighbor, that the PNP has been campaigning for the better part of 4 years now. Right?
No, Anna, if I chat too much, come off the page. Don't stay here. Just scroll on.
Neighbor can't get already. You're talking to the comments. All right, go ahead, neighbor. Because you're not talking to me. You're talking to the. You're paying a lot of attention to the comments.
I'm going to take her off. Well, I'm going to block you. You won't be able to come back here. Wife, mom, boss. I'm going to take you.
What we're seeing, though, neighbor, is that the party is still ahead. You know, without any.
Jamaica girl, take off that listener for me. That is being personal. Take her off. Take down that lady. Don't put her back over here. Let her go watch Politics Plus or one of those other programs. Take her off. Don't come back over here. You have options. My shirt is black, not green or orange. What about your business? Go ahead.
Yeah, so what the poll is reflecting is what we have been able to achieve with just the performance alone.
Yes.
Right? And no political work. Well,
Jamaica girl. Jamaica girl. Hold on there for a second.
All right, neighbor. Let me give you 5 minutes to customer after neighbor. I've never seen this side of your neighbor.
No. But I tell you this. I tell you this foresight. The poll reflects the behavior of these labor rights. The very poll reflects it. Yes, they just cuss, and the PNP they don't engage in dialogue. They don't discuss. They don't talk, and they don't understand the dangers, the headwinds that are blowing in their directions. You point it out to them, and they don't see it. You know, Mr. Adrian Samuda here. You didn't listen to him because what you were doing is listening just to what he was saying. You weren't listening to the message that he was trying to put. He was giving you guys even advice, but you're not tolerant of anyone else's view, right? You just want to hear your own narrative. Eh? Everything about Andrew Holness is that you want to hear. You don't want to hear anybody else's opinion, right? You're not listening to nothing at all. You don't listen to what the man is saying. The man is saying that up in Bamboo Ridge, and I know Bamboo Ridge, you can't go up a Bamboo Ridge to talk about macroeconomy and inflation.
It goes right back to messaging again, neighbor.
Yes,
but we have
Mr. Adrian wasn't saying anything wrong.
Yeah, but he didn't come here to say anything that we haven't been saying. We know it's a messaging.
You don't go for Bamboo Ridge to talk
about
debt to GDP being 121%. Bamboo Ridge people are talking about water and road.
Exactly.
And fertilizer for them farm.
And which government holds the record?
Yes.
Right? Of providing these communities with water and road. Which government does?
So you're gonna go up to Moko or tell them about the debt to GDP was 126% in 2016 and you have to bring it down to 68%?
Neighbor.
Yes, sir.
I just get some quiet. A little quiet.
Very
sorry for being late. And that matter of going up to Bamboo Ridge and telling people ask them and comfort. What you're saying, what's your take on it? Because what he was
I am saying that I asked Mr. Samuda that the message from the PNP or to the people is what is it that you are going to do differently? All right, because if you are offering people an alternative.
Repeat what you just said. I missed something. Sorry.
I asked Mr. Samuda what it is that the PNP would do. Okay, so if you are going to criticize where the government is, and I don't go around anything to say that there are inequities in the society. Not everybody here is at the same level. And I have said
there have always been inequities in the society.
Yes, and I have said that when an economy grows, that the people benefit at different levels. There are people in Jamaica that can go into the bank to Monday morning and get $2 million. As a matter of fact, the bank sends many people in Jamaica text messages and emails to click. Yes. They just click it and it's in their account.
Yes, I've
How
seen
many people in Jamaica can do that? There are pay advance loans. Some people
then
get
neighbor. when you're going to ask, what you ask, how many people in Jamaica can do that? Is that you're using to make your, is that what you're using to make your point?
No, I'm not using that to make my point. All I'm saying is that
because
in the economy, sir,
yes,
people benefit at different levels, and people with resources can go into business, can get loans, they have an advantage.
As is the case
against the minimum wage worker that gets $16,000 today, and that minimum wage worker pays his fare out of it to come home. He reach home with $15,850.
Yes, and the minimum wage worker was what? The minimum wage worker did not pay his fare from it when it was $6,200. Because I'm trying to see the point.
I'm not saying he did not. All I'm saying is that that minimum wage worker is going to buy grocery tomorrow at in supermarket.
So use the fare as a marker.
Hold on. He's going to buy grocery.
I hear you. I understand things.
Yes. And then he's going to go into the market. And then he has 2 children to send to school.
Yes.
But was there ever time when that wasn't the case?
In 2015, he still had to buy grocery from it, send his kids to school from it, and go to the market.
Yes, sir. And then who does he blame? And that's why he voted out the PNP.
Yes.
No.
What you should have asked the comrade is to check the bus fare. Use the bus fare as a marker, and check what was the bus fare from the distance to Maypen, from Maypen to Old Harbour, that the minimum wage worker would have to pay, and see how much percent out of the $6,200 was
why is it hard to accept? Why is it hard to accept?
Never.
$16,000.
I'm not arguing anything. I'm
it's
just
not sufficient
to measure things. Check
minimum wage has never been sufficient, neighbor. That's the point I think he's making. Minimum wage has never been sufficient. So we need to stop selling it now. But that's why communication is a problem, because we need people to understand that minimum wage has never been sufficient.
Neighbor, if you guys want to compare it and do it correctly, check how much percentage is the.
You see the same problem Mr. Morgan has. Because you are here with me having an intellectual discussion about minimum wage. That is not what the minimum wage worker wants to hear, you know. Whether it was better in 2016 or no. He want to hear how am I gonna get $2,000 more upon that, so that in life can be a little better. And that's a mistake the Labour Party.
The same way how he got $10,000 and the 6,200. That's how he's going to get more on the 16,000. It's simple. It's evident. The proof.
Yeah. All right. So when you tell him how, you're gonna take. I hear Mr. Morgan taking 15 minutes, or 15 minutes is a stretch. Maybe 7 minutes to explain to him.
You have something personal against Mr. Morgan, you know, and you don't have the same temperament when you're talking about Mr. Morgan as when you're talking about other people. I've been listening. It's not your first time. And I think you need to calm down when you're addressing that person, when you're talking about that person.
No.
Be careful not to just throw out, because you might not rate that person, or you might not think his communication is going anywhere. I think you mark him harsh. You asked why Rhoda Crawford wasn't in the studio. I wasn't speaking, but I was listening. Is Rhoda Crawford more articulate or a better communicator than Marlon Morgan? When the JLP was under the storm and nobody was talking, did Rhoda Crawford lead the communication task and speak out for JLP and put them back in the conversation? I didn't see that. Mr. Morgan was leading that.
Yes, the point is,
I think it's good strategy to have a candidate in the studio at the very time a poll finding is coming out and you don't really know what the finding is going to be, you want the communication specialist. Sometimes, you know, just like you hear some people chastise the party the other day about a simple candidate selection, not taking everything into consideration. That's
Yes.
how we do, we commentators, you know. Once something don't come off is in our eyes at the time, we're quick to go and in other words, we're criticizing the leader and the general secretary and all the strategists that decided to send Marlon Morgan to the studio. So it's deeper than what you're saying now.
The segment of the population, Casey, that tonight is struggling. Okay, sir? And that is the
Pardon
point, Mr. Samuel. There are people in Jamaica.
Yes, 8.2%, while it was 16.4% before.
But how many people? How many people is that? How many people is that, Casey? 8.2% of Jamaica. How many people is that?
Neighbor, they exist and it takes time for them to come out of the slum.
Then
We
nobody
cannot just
say they
lift up
don't
and throw them in a mud lane to solve the answer.
All that
It
needs
takes
to
time.
happen, neighbor, is you can't provide these people with the benefits without telling them or finding a way to
You are
convince them.
criticizing Marlon Morgan.
That-
Then
hold on
I
a
hear
Casey.
a man come up speaking pure gibberish, and you never once stop him and ask him a telling question or said, but what you're saying don't make sense. What you're complaining about always exists, and it exists more under the PNP that it does now. I don't hear you say anything like that. But you're criticize another man who is not having a conversation with you. You couldn't do nothing about what Marlon Morgan was saying, you know. But the other man talking pure foolishness was a guest on your program.
Neighbor is here?
Sorry, go ahead, Casey.
I'm done with that, you know, neighbor. Back to the polls. I'm done with that.
All right, I know I didn't hear that. I mean, I'm trying to see if I can charge up something here. All right. No, Mr.
Poll. Let us analyze the poll.
Tell us your views on it.
Yes, as I said, the last poll findings said from the same pollsters was the governing party having a 6-point lead. Now it has cut to a 4-point lead. That's nationally, and that is very important. How is it cut? What does it really mean? Because if you remember correctly, the two weather vane seats, they did poll 2 weather vane seats 3 months ago. Now they poll 3. The third one that they polled, the JLP is behind by 19%. And I told you for a very long time now that I picked up that the JLP is slipping significantly in St. Mary. And I knew that was because of the situation in Bobby Montague's seat. And it has a lot to do with Bobby Montague himself and his lieutenant. They have fallen out of touch with the people. So that's where the problem comes in St. Mary. So if the JLP are behind in St. Mary by, what was the exact number they are behind in St. Mary by?
No, I didn't see the St. Mary poll.
Yes, but a 2-point slip, a 2-point gain for the PNP could have been like in St. Mary. For instance, in St. Mary, maybe 1.5 pints in St. Mary and 1/2 pint in between Portland, Manchester, and Trelawney. When you consider that in the real issue, which is the constituency count, when you put that into consideration, it don't really make a lot of difference, neighbor. So I hear most of the people on the panel who are supporting. Based on what I saw from the poll findings tonight, it's not any difference from that of the one 3 months ago. What is evident is that
because the PNP has gained a little bit more, but I'm saying to you, Casey, I know a lot can change between now and election.
Yes, a lot can change, but what I'm saying, a lot have not changed since the February polls and today's poll.
Or for the JLP?
In terms of a constituency count, and we are in and we have a first past the post system. It's whoever gets the 32.
Yes, yes. Well, I guess it's kind of too it's looking a bit too close for comfort for some person.
It has been close for a long time. If there was a poll 3 months before February, the PNP would have been leading comfortably. And why some JLP supporters are disheartened is that they don't know where the party is really coming from in terms of late 2023 to early 2024, up until about summer to September 2024. I think they were about 6 points behind the PNP, or went as much as maybe 8.
I think it's the narrowing of the lead so close to our election that is getting some person.
Yes, the narrowing of the national lead.
Yeah, but there are many different factors though that indicate to me that the JLP will widen that gap.
No, the JLP is leading as far as the poll is concerned in basically every category.
Exactly.
Yes, but as I repeatedly tell you guys, the JLP is strong, but the PNP have recovered and they are stronger than they were in 2020. They are much stronger. And at least now some of you understand. I don't know if you saw the data analyst on Nationwide that he was explaining to you the flip of a point in a constituency, because I try to explain that a lot of time, but because I don't use those technology, it's probably harder to explain how much a flip of a point can make a difference in a constituency. And when he tells you that 800 can flip, 800 flip can alter the outcome of a constituency, 800 is essentially 1600, because for me to flip 800, that means you're losing 800 and I'm gaining 800. So the most important factor is the amount of people that is switching rather than who is joining a particular team. Because when you get 800 voter, and if I'm leading you by 600 and you get 1,000 voters and I get, say, I'm leading by 600, you get 1,000. You're now leading by 400. So all I need is 410 to beat you by 10.
Right.
All right, Casey. That's going to have to wrap up the polls tonight.
We're 10 minutes over time. I see Scratchy has jumped back on. Scratchy, you got disconnected, eh?
Yes. I was on the road, neighbor, so I was in some noise, so I got distracted.
Yeah. So let's kind of wrap this Casey Scratchy.
Where's Jamaican girl?
She's going to jump up. Jamaica girl,
Yes,
jump
neighbor,
up.
and what I told you about Fly Green seat in Southwest St. Elizabeth.
Yes, Scratchy. As a matter of fact, I did tell the listeners this afternoon that we are standing by our forecast. We are right up there, and whatever we put out yesterday, what the listeners need to do is to stay with us, and we will, as of next week Thursday, tell you exactly where the seat count is in the election. I will. So Scratchy, tell us, Scratchy, what are your final thoughts in terms of the week's poll and where you think the party sits tonight?
Again, neighbor, as I said before, neighbor, based on the polls, I listen to the analysts on Nationwide, neighbor. I listen to the female and also the male. I listen to how they come by their methodology, neighbor, and based on what I'm seeing, based on what I'm hearing, neighbor, it's advantage JLP same way. It's advantage JLP. By no means or anything should we write off the PNP, neighbor. And definitely, neighbor, I think going into the election, neighbor, where the polls are at is where I expect the polls to be, most definitely. 4, 5, 6 point lead. Where gonna matters most, neighbor, is on the day, neighbor. Any political party that has the best machine come election day, neighbor, is the political party that will come out victorious on election day, most definitely. So I think that is where the election will be won, and our machinery, who can organize their voters best, who can get out their voters best. But for right now, where we are standing, it's advantage JLP, and I think, neighbor, the 15 constituencies that KC went through the other day that the Jamaica Labour Party gained in the last election.
Yes.
Any play that is going to happen, neighbor, is going to happen between those 15 constituencies. I don't see the PNP gaining all 15. Do I see the PNP gaining any of that 15? Yes, it's a possibility, and I'm not going to come here and lie and say, based on the data and the numbers, that the PNP won't win any of this. It's a possibility, yes, but definitely, neighbor, it's advantage.
Neighbor, I want to say this publicly. I think the JLP needed changes in St. Mary Western since the local government election, and they were not brave enough to make those changes.
Right. Yeah.
Because if the pollsters are right, what happened is the PNP have recovered and the JLP voters have gone into the undecided.
Yes.
And that what happened when the supporters have something against the representative they are closest to and not with the party.
Yes. And Casey, to add to what Casey, my final point with Social Church and St. Mary. Neighbor, what I see happening in St. Mary is I think that there's some form of fatigue down there in St. Mary, neighbor. When you look across the length and breadth of Jamaica, neighbor, and you look at what the Jamaica Labour Party have been doing in government, neighbor. Say, look at the rest of parishes, neighbor. Ask ourselves these questions, neighbor. How many groundbreaking have we seen happening down here in St. Mary? How many ribbons have we seen cut in St. Mary, neighbor? Is St. Mary and sending a message to the Jamaica Labour Party that they feel neglected? Is that an issue, neighbor? Is that why we are getting this result out of St. Mary? We have seen St. Mary is very close to St. Thomas, neighbor. We have seen where St. Thomas has kind of come out of the dark little and coming into the light.
I think I want to.
Do St. Maryans feel like they are going in the dark? That's one of the things that we have to ask ourselves already. But definitely, neighbor, it's advantage JLP. JLP will definitely.
The misery index in St. Mary is more telling than most of these other parishes. And
exactly.
St. Mary haven't gotten the same attention as some of these others. And
that's my point.
If you really check what is going
on, Jamaica girl, come on up, Jamaica girl.
Each of these parishes,
But I think talking about polling in its
also, Scotty, there's discontent with the leadership of Western St. Mary and the supporters.
Exactly.
Thank you.
They have
thank you,
big
Keith.
problems
I think I want to end with a little bit of editorial note. And it is going to be very simple and very brief. And I want my listeners to know I do not work for the Jamaica Labour Party. I do not work for the Jamaica Labour Party. I do not work for the Jamaica Labour Party. I do not work for the Jamaica Labour Party.
Nobody is hearing you, neighbor.
My God. Wow, what was that? Listeners, are you
Connection.
Eh?
Yes, neighbor, you don't work for the Labour Party?
I don't. And I'm not blogging on behalf of the party.
Neighbor.
Just listen to me carefully, sir.
Nobody have accused you of working for the JLP.
I'm not.
What you need to do is explain to them that you don't work for PNP.
I don't work for the PNP.
That's what they're suspecting.
No, I do not work for the PNP. I do not come on this program to push the PNP's agenda. I want to maintain a balanced perspective, looking at the views.
And that's a good point, neighbor. That I think you need to make it clear, because you can see persons in the chat.
Yes,
It
is clear that the program attracts a lot of supporters of the Labour Party. If I find that you are going to be personal and attack me, I will end the program. I want you to be very clear that if you come over here to attack me personally with your rudeness, I will end this. I'm not doing this for, I just want you to be clear on that. When you want to be rude and out of place, here's the place for you. Is that your background, Scotty?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, great. All right, let me just go again. Jamaica girl, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Good night, everybody.
I am telling my listeners, I don't work for the People's National Party. I have a view, I have my opinions, and I have started this program to share those opinions and to have these discussions. And one of the reasons why I did so was that I used to appear on other lives, and I noticed how they treat people. Even myself was thrown off many programs. People were checking to find out, is he a Labourite? Why is he criticizing here? I remember, quite a number of times people attacked me because I was pointing out some things that I thought were, the party should change. I'm not a parrot. And so when you come over here and talk about all your nastiness, I'm not up for it with you, okay? If you cannot conduct yourself decently on this program and in the chat, don't come here. All right. And one of the things I have found out in the politics in Jamaica is that it is nasty. It's nasty. Okay, we don't know how to treat each other.
Very nasty.
And I probably, we don't know. I mean, Mr. Samuda is someone I know. I've known Mr. Samuda for years. And why should I attack Mr. Samuda? Yes, I'm having a conversation. And at the end of the day, I will go to Mr. Samuda's place. He'll come to my place. You don't have to be nasty, man, and run people off the program. And people want to come up to trace him off. And no,
right.
That's wrong. Because if Andrew Holness wins the next election, we're all going to have to stay here. If Golden wins, we're not all Jamaicans. Why can't we be more tolerant of this way? Okay? And don't you ever dare say anything about the Labour Party on this program. Don't you ever dare say it. Don't criticize anyone having to do with the Labour Party. Because guess what? They are faultless. They don't have any faults. Yes? You know, one of the things that you listeners don't understand is that there is no negative criticism, you know. Criticisms are just criticisms.
Exactly.
Criticisms are never negative. If you are making a criticism, then you have an interest in the organization. Right? So why are you attacking people?
But neighbor,
yes.
If we can't have a wholesome discussion, neighbor, and compare a finding from 3 months ago to one that is now present, and make comparison based on those findings on a political platform, and share our findings, whether it want to be in line or in favor of the governing party or not.
Another thing, Scratchy. Another thing is the last polls were more telling, because coming out of that poll, based on the sentiments on the ground, most people expected the PNP to be in the lead. Then the JLP it was the JLP who had a 6-point lead. Since then, Dan Anderson came out with a poll stating that the PNP have a 5-point lead, but a lot of things it was never respected, because it was never accepted, because the JLP led in almost every other area, and in voting intentions, the PNP had a 5-point lead. But I kind of understand that poll also, because these two polls were different. It will take time to explain all that to you. But back to the 6-point lead poll.
No.
34 for the JLP.
We're gonna pick that up Monday, Casey. Casey?
Okay.
Let's pick up the poll tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Jamaica girl?
I think maybe you need to get that. I think you need to get you need to get on it tomorrow, neighbor.
Yes,
because
sure
Monday will be a different story.
Yes, I sure will.
By Monday we will have
I probably will talk to you tomorrow.
JLP will announce. Yes.
I'll talk to you about it.
We will be talking about 2 new JLP candidates members
on Monday. Jamaica girl?
Yes, neighbor.
Yeah, I don't know if you have a comment on my few little thoughts earlier.
Yes, I agree, and I've come on here before and I've said that from what I gather, what I see, the representatives are friends. I saw Angela Brown Burke and Desmond McKenzie dancing beside each other, laughing and talking at Mr. Siaga's birthday celebration. But now in the comments, every time Anna comes over here, there's some Labourite telling her, leave, come off, what you do over here? You cruff, all sort of things. And I'm saying, what is wrong with you guys? You don't know the lady from anywhere. You're not enemies. You're not at war. You have different political views, and that is fine. We don't need to be.
But she has
disrespectful
conducted
to
herself
each other.
very, very,
She
very,
doesn't. Yeah, she
very well.
does. She does. She does. She certainly does. But I notice people are always attacking Anna specifically, I guess, because they know for sure that she's a comrade, as opposed to others that may comment. It's just very unnecessary. Somebody pointed out earlier that somebody was, I don't even remember what they said, the person called the prime minister, and I didn't do anything or whatever. One, I don't see all the comments. Two, I've been on the prime minister's live numerous times, and I see people over there typing, I won't even repeat, and nobody blocks them. So I don't know why I would be over here, not employed by the prime minister, and take up this personal battle to defend everything that everybody says about him.
Yes.
That's not my job. If anything, that is Mr. Morgan's job.
Yes.
You guys need to chill. You guys need to chill.
Yeah,
our KC job, our KC job.
Probably, right?
Hello?
Probably. I see people in the comments even being disrespectful about KC's forecast. Generally, I'll mute them because once you disrespect anybody on the panel, I'm going to mute you.
Yes. I must tell you that I don't like the...
Yes, neighbor,
Yeah, don't like...
Go ahead, Casey.
Kachi?
Yes, neighbor.
We have to do better. No,
what
sir.
I'm saying is...
Yeah, man,
we have to
Casey.
hold ourselves by the same standard we expect to hold other people by. And sometimes neighbor taught me something the other day. Sometimes intellectually, you can't judge everybody on the same intellectual standard. So sometimes you have to be tolerant to some people with certain things if they have not gone too far. Because
yes.
If we are dealing with Jamaica, we are dealing with about 3 million. We cannot pick and choose to deal with the articulate minority, as the great Bobby Pickersgill would say. So sometimes if somebody don't really hurl insults by using expletives and so on, all you do, they have a competitive nature. So just ask them to be respectful. You don't block them like as you get an opportunity to block them or run them away. They can go on other live, and we must appreciate them for being here. We have to look at things from a different standpoint too. I don't condone anybody disrespecting anybody. Neighbor, I've never seen anybody disrespect you in the comments.
Oh Lord!
So
no man,
we can't get defensive because I see the panel in defense mode, and it's not good. I think we might lose control if we get too harsh. It's TikTok. It's a different space. It's reality, but it's different.
Well, generally, that's what I will do, Casey. So if somebody says something, I'll remind them to be respectful, but you know that not really calm them down.
No expletives and
right.
Yeah. If somebody say leave what you're doing over here, it's not nice, but I wouldn't put that I wouldn't take that as a disrespect unless somebody on the panel or somebody who is a part of the team say that. You get what I'm saying, Jamaican girl?
Yes, I understand. No, I'm not saying that is disrespectful in itself, but they tend to go on because usually they'll come on and say something like that. I'll probably say, leave the person alone. Everybody entitled to be here or whatever, but it never stops there. That's it. It never ever stops there. Somebody was telling Anna the other night about her father and her brother. One whole heap of something after asking them to just be respectful. But they don't stop.
Yeah.
But
I guess
take your point, but it
important.
also
Where Anna there? Where's Anna?
Scratchy?
Anna gone?
Yes,
I'm
neighbor.
not sure she's still here.
I think it is
Anna,
important
Anna trouble to you know. Anna
in
is
having,
trouble to you know.
in having this discussion is what it is
Jamaican
that the
girl.
listeners
Yes.
will
Anna
face.
give trouble to you know.
What is it
No,
that the
Anna will
listeners
make fun, but she doesn't. She don't go low as our Gen 6 say, you know. But
what is
she'll
it that
make
the
fun
listeners
with
are
people.
expecting of us?
Frog say
Because
what you
I get the feeling that there is a great expectation that we should push the Labour Party's message here. Is that what we exist to do?
I mean, neighbor, when you look at the rest of the lives, neighbor, that are on TikTok, neighbor. The rest of lives, neighbor, they based on how they operate, neighbor. They operate where once you come and you're against the government, you get automatically blocked or you don't get called up in the box. But what persons have to understand, neighbor, that your life
and
your program or your platform is you might lean to a political side, yes. You might have a side where you lean to, but despite you leaning to a particular side, there's still some form of balance that you want to portray, that you want to show across to the viewers, that you want to have a balance same way. Not because you say I might support a particular party, it means that you want to only entertain persons who support that party or informations or things that highlight that political party. Even that political party is not all roses. There are some things that a lot of persons are not pleased with, and you like those things to come on the platform, highlight them. However, hold some an intelligent discussion about them.
Yes.
I think that the type of platform that you are bringing, but persons who don't understand that, they tend and believe that you're gonna be tribal, you're gonna come over here, but you have to understand that your platform is totally different from the rest of the platform. This is a platform where neighbor engage both persons who support the Jamaica Labour Party and persons who support the People's National Party, where political discussions can be held.
It is conversations in Scratchy. You can have a conversation.
Of course, neighbor. Of course, you can, neighbor. Listen to me. And I think I will advise there's a JLP bloggers on this platform and TikTok, neighbor, to stop holding conversation, or not stop. You must have some point in time, neighbor, where you can engage the opposition member, because, neighbor, whether we want to believe it or not, some of these points, neighbor, that these persons who support the PNP come and they talk in the chat and they come on the live and they say, neighbor, it is things that are out there that are preventing another person from supporting the Jamaica Labour Party. So
Yes.
it is good when we can have a discussion around them and break down the myth and set the facts straight. Because whether we want to believe it or not, neighbor, a lot of these things are things that Jamaicans are holding against the governing party.
Yes.
So I think the supporters, neighbor, sometimes the supporters are doing
you're right up there. You're right up there, Scratches. Jamaica girl, what it is that the listeners are expecting us to do? Really? Are we off track?
I think majority of the listeners are Labourites, and they just expect that we will say all wonderful, beautiful things about the Labour Party, and that is it. Yes. So they'll tell you can't discuss why seats aren't settled and stuff like that.
Neighbor.
Yes.
Neighbor.
Yes, Casey.
Scratchy.
Yes, Casey.
Scratchy.
Yeah, bro.
What do you think? Based on the poll today, what would you say? What would you say? What would you tell people that will happen going forward? What you really think will happen going forward when the campaign really cranks up?
I mean, it is always good, Casey, when you're going into a campaign, a national big election campaign. An election is important at this when you have a lead like this as a governing party going for a third term. That is very, very important. And I think going into the third term, this is a big thing for the governing party with a point like this. Yes, persons are expecting and saying that they were expecting that the lead would be much larger. We should have a more bigger league base from February to present over that 3-month period. But what we have to understand, Casey, how elections are is most of these
when the Prime Minister touch road
It's a different ball game, man. It's a total different ball game.
When the Prime Minister touch road the real way,
when the Prime Minister put on
what
the
you
green
think will
cloth and
happen?
touch the road,
So
it's
how
gonna be a
different?
total
What do you think about that's where you see it going. What do you think about how Scratchy explained it, neighbor?
So what? So how Scratchy explained it?
Neighbor freeze.
I'm frozen?
No, we're hearing the neighbor. Go ahead.
Neighbor?
No, I have not frozen. It's you, KZ.
What I'm saying, Scratchy.
It's
No, like neighbor have bad connection.